Clive, I'm Jack McCarthy with the Chicago Tribune. Illinois State presents an offensive challenge with their quarterback, Trey Roberson, and the running back, Marshawn Conference. Can you talk about what they present for you and how you plan to counter that?
Well, obviously they're two tremendous football players, and they've had a great amount of success this year with the accolades that they've received. And you know we can't shut them both down. A lot of people have tried to shut one down, and the other one beats them. And for us, we've got to be able to try to control both of them. You're not going to just stop them. I think the most important thing that we've talked about on the defensive side of things is limit their explosive plays. They're going to get gains of 10 and 12 and 15 there, here and there, because they're really talented players. But we've got to eliminate the 50 and 80-yard gains, which they've had a number of times against other competition.
And both the passing attack as well.
Well, I think anytime you try to defend such a talented team, you can't just look at one player. Kind of like what Coach Kleiman said, we're going to try and limit them both, and you know you're not going to shut them down. But it always comes down back to the basics. I think defensively, just doing our job, trusting your teammates, playing hard, running to the ball. If you do that, I think you'll be pretty successful.
There we go. Question back here. In the back.
Beth Poole, KBLI, KHJV out of Fargo, North Dakota. Colton, last year, and Kyle, I guess you guys both had a big game changer. The blocked punt picked up and returned for over 50 yards. I mean, you guys have continuously had games, championship games that came down to a big game changer. Have you guys talked about that and just keeping an eye out for that sort of situation?
You know, Coach Kleiman mentioned it, is just knowing how to win football games, and I think anytime you can prevent a big play, it's huge for your team, along with having an explosive play, will give you the opportunity to win football games. And kind of piggybacking off what these both guys have said, if we can eliminate big plays for Illinois State, we'll be pretty successful as well.
Going back to when you think about you and I, it was kind of, like Coach said, it's kind of a relaxation, because there's obviously a little pressure. You try not to feel any of that pressure, but I think that if you kind of look back maybe 3 years ago at Youngstown State when we lost in 2011, that was a game that, had we not lost it, I think I was actually talking to Carson outside the dorms when we were freshmen about it, and he said that maybe if we did not lose that game, we might have just kind of had this arrogance about us and not really be prepared in the way we were. Maybe we not even won that first championship. But I think that kind of just let everyone relax and kind of get back to the fundamentals and what Bison football is.
Carson, I want you to comment too.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off what they all said, you threw out the word invincibility, and I think anytime that comes to mind, I mean, it's a terrible word to think for your team. It just leads to destruction, if you ask me. And so I think our mindset every week is to go 1-0. And so, we had the hiccup at UNI, and that's football. Some people think it was a good thing. Some people thought the world was crashing down on us. So be it. We just turned around and started focusing on next week, and that's kind of our mindset every week.
Back here.
Jeff Kopak, the Forum. Colton, what's it like to see 150 former players at practice today?
Honestly, that's probably one of my favorite parts about coming down here to Frisco. Even just seeing a couple of your friends that you haven't seen in a while, that you even played with last year, that you don't see every week. Playing and being with guys pretty much 360 days out of the year every day, and then not seeing them at all is tough. And then I was able to speak to some of them and just thank them for the foundation they've laid and the tradition that we've been able to follow here at NDSU. And I said to them, there's no way we could have had the success today that we've had without them in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So it's honestly one of my favorite parts about this whole trip.
Again, tomorrow, from what I understand, 75–80% Bison fans, and they're our 12th man. Now, granted, it isn't warm here, but you should see it up in Fargo right now. You get a chance to travel south, 34 degrees. This is beautiful down here for our fans, and so. But they love their Bison. And it doesn't matter if we're traveling to a conference away game or having 19,000 in the Fargo Dome screaming for us. They are fanatics, and we wouldn't be where we're at without them. We can assure you that.
Kyle, would you comment?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think they are one of the best fan bases in the country, and to be honest, it's one of the reasons I chose to come to North Dakota State. I came to Fargo and I saw how passionate everyone in the community was for the football team, how supportive they were, and that was something that I wanted. And you know, if it wasn't for them, you know, being in the dome, you know, creating that home field advantage for us throughout the playoffs. You know, we always talk about Frisco, you know, running through the Fargo Dome when we got that home field advantage, and you know, it just wouldn't be the same without those fans. And you get on social media and you just see all the things they're doing coming down here to Frisco. It's just awesome, and really helps us out.
Okay. Clear front.
Colton Poole, NDSU Spectrum. Joe, can you talk a little bit about Illinois State's front seven and maybe the problems that they pose?
I think they're a very diverse group. They, you know, they have a DN that's about 220 pounds, and they're able to, you know, put him up as a linebacker a lot, and he can do pretty much every front. But I think that going through Missouri Valley, you kind of get ready, you get kind of prepared for anything, because there are so many, you know, 3-4-4-3 defenses, and they all run their own way. And I think that after watching all this film, it's nothing we haven't faced before, but it's also they bring their own you know, athleticism challenge that we
player guys' eyes, and just a focus about them. Even, you know, even when we go through and go to the fun events and all those things, you can just tell everyone's focused and ready to go. And you know, I think that comes with the fact that we've been here 3 years in the past already.
Okay, back here in the back.
Emory Hunt football game plan coach. I wanted to ask, you guys have done a great job all season long taking the one thing a team does well. Let's say Montana, you took away Wegman. You look at Sam Houston State, you took away their passing game. In this game with an offense like Illinois State where they're balanced, is it mostly about executing and technique and less about scheme?
Well, I don't think there's any secrets on what we're going to do as well as what they're going to do. Bottom line for us, we have to be able to stop the run or control the run, and we need to be able to run the football. And those are two staples for us that you can look at our success over the years, that when we've been able to control people's running game and ourselves be able to run the football, time of possession changes and all those things come into our favor. And if we can do those things, we'll have a great opportunity to have success. If we don't, if we can't run the football and we have a tough time slowing those guys down, it'll be a long day for us.
You know, I think that there's so much tradition in North Dakota State that you know, you would like to, you know, look at this last 3 wins as, you know, something that is almost like a dynasty. But I think that overall it just speaks to our tradition in North Dakota State and our ability to, you know, consistently over time just get to these national championships, and just kind of the atmosphere that we bring as, you know, Bison Nation.
I don't know. We're just here to win this one. I think Coach mentioned earlier, after Western, we're going to take one game at a time, one play at a time, and you know, that's stuff for you guys to talk about in the media. So we're just going to play football.
Kyle?
Yeah, I'd like to echo Colton's comments. I think you know, our coaches did a good job of talking about winning just this national championship for this team, and then after the fact, you know, especially as seniors when we're done with everything, then we can maybe look back and talk about, you know, what we accomplished. But right now, we're just going to focus on one at a time.
It was a big deal for us, our weightlifting coach, because right after the national championship, you just go to Coach Kramer and we're here with them for, you know, 4 straight months, and that just gave us so much more, you know, consistency throughout each year that it really wasn't much of a difference than we used to.
Carson, would you comment?
Yeah, you know, sound like a broken record with these guys, what they said, but you know, players are going to change, coaches are going to change, but we pretty much stayed the same with, you know, our leadership's been tremendous this year. One thing that's different, I would say, would be, you know, all the naysayers at the beginning of the year. You know, new coach, new quarterback, 4 new offensive linemen, you know, just all the stuff that we went through, losing all the seniors. I think there's a lot of doubters and naysayers. So, you know, that's I would think that started it a little differently, but as the season progressed, you know, there wasn't much difference in my opinion.
Colton?